Adrian Newey and Aston Martin fought back at the allegations regarding his potential departure from the position of team principal, as the Silverstone-based squad found itself in a very difficult position in 2026. With so many problems to fix and so many options available, is this the right move? And more importantly, can Newey improve the collaboration with Honda and their troublesome engine? There seems to be a lot of drama revolving around Aston Martin's team principal role, and Adrian Newey found himself in a very difficult position at the beginning of the newly regulated era. He focused exclusively on the AMR26 ever since he was signed by Lawrence Stroll, but the engine from Honda doesn't seem to meet the expectations that were set by the Silverstone-based squad. And despite this not being the direct fault of Adrian Newey, there have been continuous talks about him stepping down from the role of team principal and taking another position in the Silverstone-based squad. But they've now squashed those rumors. In a statement to the media, Aston Martin sent a fierce response regarding the role of Newey, as they wrote, "The team will not be engaging in media speculation about its senior leadership team. Adrian Newey continues to lead the team as team principal and managing technical partner, but then again, we need to rewind a bit and see how this role affects Aston Martin in the wider picture. Adrian Newey is a very valuable figure in the team, and nobody doubts that. He's been in the sport for quite a while to know what aspects of the car need to be improved. But on the other hand, he's continuously worked behind closed curtains and hasn't really had the opportunity that he has right now with Aston Martin being a team principal. From the moment he took over the role from Andy Cowell, another big signing Aston Martin made from Mercedes, it was clear that he was not particularly enjoying it, and he'd done it to calm some important people in the team. That's why rumors about him being replaced by either Wheatley or Horner have gained so much traction. We know for a fact that Newey is a much better used asset if he's given the tools to work in the factory and with his group of engineers, rather than being exposed at the front of the pit wall as a team principal. Yes, he's done that with Red Bull as well. He's been sitting next to Horner and Wheatley for quite a long period. But whenever things turned sour, Horner was the one taking responsibility, and that's now up to Newey at Aston Martin. And we are approaching the primary issue with Aston Martin's leadership. They lack a consistent link between the management and technical leadership axis and the race team, who are experienced, respected, and very much eager to engage in media and promotional duties. The team right now doesn't need a project leader. It needs a race team boss. And this is why big emphasis has been put on Lawrence Stroll as well. You brought up a great number of loud and big names from Formula One to your team, but are you capable of using their full potential? It seems to me that there is a lot to be worked on in terms of putting everyone where they deserve to be. Newey started as a technical partner, focusing on the car design and leading technical strategy. The fact that he became a team principal from what he used to be is just questionable, to say the least, and that's why there have been so many debates as to whether or not he deserves this position in the team. But make no mistake, he is a respected individual regardless of the issues that have engulfed Aston Martin right now, and that has been shared by the drivers. The fact that Lance Stroll described Newey as the most dedicated member on the team speaks volumes as to where he's currently standing in the team's hierarchy. The young Canadian driver said that Newey has a very inspiring leadership style and that he's obsessed with adding more performance to the car, but at the end of the day, this might seem like a bit too much to handle from the other side of this partnership, which is Honda. We'll get more into that later in this video, as we want to focus more on why Newey staying as a team principal has its pros and cons. This seemingly closes the door for any other move that could have been in the books, such as Jonathan Wheatley or perhaps even Christian Horner. But there is one big question that needs to be asked here. How will Honda take this news? The Japanese manufacturer has disappointed everyone with the engine they've made, especially after coming out from a successful campaign with Red Bull, to the point where Alonso had to lift his hands from the steering wheel due to the vibrations caused by the power unit. And on top of that, there have been reports that Honda has been pushed constantly by Newey in order to improve, something that is much easier said than done, which is why frustrations have been growing within the Japanese team's inner structures. While Lawrence Stroll decided to continue with the current leadership of Newey, it doesn't automatically put his team in a great position, especially considering the stance of Honda and the batteries they provide to the team. Shintaro Orihara, the trackside general manager and chief engineer of Honda, spoke about the vibrations issue after the disastrous Chinese GP, where he subtly hinted towards the fact that perhaps it's the driver's fault for not being able to handle the vibrations the way they should. As he said, "We cannot be satisfied with the double DNF. However, if we focus on the more favorable areas, we ran more miles than in Melbourne, which is encouraging. We have improved the vibrations on the system side, but it's still an issue for driver comfort. This is a key area to address as we look ahead to the next race in Japan." And as I mentioned earlier in this video, Adrian Newey finds himself in a very difficult position because Honda is feeling the internal pressure that he's creating in the partnership with Aston Martin. In one of his statements, Newey said loud and clear that the vibrations are a pure product of the engine, and that on the chassis part, there do not seem to be any major defects, which puts Honda in the spotlight as the worst engine manufacturer so far in 2026's era. And if we are to believe the reports coming from sources close to the team, the engine is so flawed that it might take up to 2 years to bring it up to date, which is more or less translating into a massive failure for Aston Martin's prospects. When it comes to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I don't think that will happen anytime soon for Aston Martin. Newey himself said that the people who worked with Honda during their most successful years with Redbull have now disbanded to other businesses such as solar panels, and the new employees are quite fresh to F1. This adds more value to the issues that Honda has right now, because not only do they have massive issues to fix, but the expertise on their side is just not there. From that point of view, having Newey as a team principal might not be the best scenario, because if he is not doing his thing from the background, putting work on his board and having his engineers dive deep into finding a potential solution related to the car, then Aston Martin is practically wasting his talent. So by having Newey as the team principal, Lawrence Stroll and Aston Martin are going to have a hard time working out the problems with Honda, because it's only going to spell more internal tension and friction between both sides. Newey isn't known as one to back down when he is in the right, and the last thing that the Silverstone-based squad needs right now is measurements of the egos of their respective partners. Be that as it may, we are going to have an interesting season ahead of us, because whether we like it or not, Aston Martin lacks clear leadership in the team principal role, and Newey might not be the best solution for it. What are your thoughts on this entire situation? Let us know in the comments below.